Hello, stamping friends. Welcome to this week's video at Magnolia's Place. I'm Carol Parsons, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in South Carolina. Each Monday I post a video on my YouTube channel. They will either be a tutorial, regular tutorial, or a mystery stamping event. I'll alternate each week. And this is a tutorial week. Do you like making fun fold cards? Then you're in luck because this week we're going to learn how to make another style bookmark card. And it fits in with this idea I saw from another demo to eradicate loneliness one card at a time. Find details about it on my blog. All right, so this is the card we're going to make this week. See, here's the bookmark. It's got a little pocket. And the inside's all prettied up. Isn't that pretty? I really like this card. And I just love this set of sentiments. This was, where is it? Here it is. Special Moments. I've shown this to you before. This was a celebration stamp earlier this year, so I earned it for free based on orders that I was making, and I just love this. The sentiments just sing to me. Like, where would I be without a friend like you? Or I couldn't just wait for a special occasion. And then the inside I put for someone who is wonderful in each and every way. I just love these. Thanks for brightening my day. I mean, just a little hi from me. So many of these are just beautiful for friends. All right, so what do we need and all that good stuff. So let's start with stamps. I'm going to use Gallery Blooms. You know I love this set. Special Moments I showed you. And I'm not using the stamps Unbounded Love, but I'm using the dies that go with it. And these dies, you know, I always take the dies and mount magnetic sheets on an empty card case. And then I make a photocopy of all the dies and put it down there. This way I can tell quickly if something's missing because it's laying on my desk somewhere or the dog is holding it. Not really, but it sounded good. All right. And what else will we need? We are going to be using the pressed flower motifs. Aren't those gorgeous embellishments? I really like those. And, well, of course, the gorgeous cardstock. And I keep forgetting the name of the set. It is paper. It is Beautiful Gallery. I don't know why that's so hard for me, but you know, they named the stamp set Gallery Blooms. But then there's another stamp set in there that's called something else, and then they named the suite a different thing. So my little brain just can't hold all that in sometimes. So I keep forgetting Beautiful Gallery is the designer series paper, which I am down to the last few pieces in the second pack I have ordered. I've got another one on the order I placed yesterday. Okay, so that's everything we need, and here are the measurements, the pieces that we're going to need. We'll start out with a card base. This is 5.5 by 11, and I scored it at 4 1/4 and 5.5. No, 8.5, sorry. Yeah, I did try to write over that. 8.5. Score it at 4 1/4 and 8.5. Okay, so after you do that, no, wait, it goes this way. This is the front, and that's going to be your pocket for the bookmark, and then there. I mean, who doesn't need a bookmark, right? Okay, then we need a piece of designer series paper that's 2 by 5. And I loved this one, but I ran out of those. So I chose this. I thought it looked best with a piece of designer series paper that's not too busy. So that's why I chose something that was kind of quiet or plain, so to speak. And you need a piece of basic beige, or in this case I grabbed very vanilla, I don't know why. 1 3/4 by 2 3/4, and I've already stamped and die cut that piece, and I used this die. Is it this one or this one? This one. I used this die from Unbounded Love, and that fit perfectly. Look, isn't that pretty? I love how that fits. You can stamp a little something in the corners. It's so pretty. And then we need 1 3/4 by 5. This is, it can either be very vanilla or basic beige, but that's your bookmark itself. And then for the DSP on top of the bookmark, you need a piece that's 1 1/2 by 4 3/4. And then inside the card, we need 2 layers of paper, but we also need a layer on the outside. So we need 2 pieces of Mossy Meadow that are 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and the dog is knocking on the door. Hang on. Come in, Tesla. We have a little Australian Shepherd. She doesn't like being by herself, and she knocks on the door when she wants to come in. I know. Are you believing that, right? Not with her paw. Well, maybe she uses her paw. Sometimes maybe it's her head. I don't know. Anyhow, all right. So we've got 2 of those. And then on the front, we need a piece here. And this is 3 3/4 by 5. And on the front, we need a matte, Mossy Meadow matte, that is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. Then on the inside, and we already have a Mossy Meadow matte there. So this is a piece of basic beige. Oh, I'm sorry, I took that off before I read it. That is 3 3/4 by 5. And then a scrap piece, 5 inches long. It doesn't matter what width it is. Look, this looks pretty. That's a little bit wider. This is thinner. It doesn't matter. It'll be pretty. And then you need a piece of ribbon. I chose basic beige. Some people get along with 6 inches for bookmarks. I can't. I have a little bit of arthritis in my fingers, and I need longer piece to, maneuver all my pieces and stuffs and what have yous. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to follow these are the PDF directions, the tutorial that will be linked in the description box or on my blog. And these are free for you, at least right now. So far, I'm able to do that. I look at this, I won't forget something. All right, I already told you about the score lines here. So let's layer the 3 3/4 by 5 inch DSP to the 4 by 5 1/4 Mossy Meadow, and that's going to go right here. And it's important that you do this before you cut and put together your pocket. Ask me how I know, because I did that. I didn't totally ruin it. I can fix it, but it's not just necessarily a happy way to go about it. All right, so I've got my silicone mat, which I love to use when I'm applying adhesive. Okay, and we will get this here. Center it on your cardstock. You know what? I probably looks like I cut this a little too long. Hang on. It's supposed to be 5 inches long. I bet I cut it 5 1/4. No, that's 5 inches. Huh. Well, is this not 5 1/4? Aha! That's what's the matter. All right, hang on. I'm over here cutting another piece. 4 by 5 1/4. There we go. Okay, now this ought to look, aha, there we go, pretty. Okay, and I want mine to go this way because this is upside down. The roses are correct this way, and you've got flowers vining down. I mean, I'm looking out the window right now at some roses that do that. Okay, so that's going to go there. And I think I'll put a little more adhesive. There we go. Right like this. So how was your 4th of July? Did you have fireworks going off in your area? We did. Here in South Carolina, people love their fireworks. When we were younger, we used to do them all the time. Kids had a blast. Well, so did we too. Especially my husband. Okay, now we want to cut this part. And we want to do an angle cut. So, in your directions, I drew you this handy dandy little layout. And I'm showing you that the bookmark needs to be oriented to the right. Because see here, oops, 3 pieces of paper going on. There we go. I'm showing you that I want you to measure down from the top 2 inches and make a tick mark right there. So let's do that. Okay. I haven't jiggled the camera yet. Knock on wood. Okay, tick mark. Oh, I probably better go a little closer to the edge. Aren't we glad there's erasers on pencils? Okay. Now, I want to show you this one on the paper cutter so you can see. If you haven't cut angles like this before, you'll understand what I'm talking about. All right, so we're going to cut from the tick mark there to the corner. So I want the corner where the score line meets the edge to be right in the track. And then I want the tick mark to be right in the track. Then we're going to cut. And we get a piece off, and it looks like that. So when we are ready to position it, it's in this position. Okay, now I'll put that right here. Okay, got that. And the next thing we want to do is the green piece that's going here and the designer series paper or the patterned paper that will go right here. So both of these need to have tick marks too. And I've already made them. That one should be 1 7/8 of an inch. Yes. Okay. You probably can't see it, but I can see it. So, you know, I probably should have just left the trimmer over here. I will do that this time. I'll just scooch it over. Here we go. And that is such a faint little line, but I can see it. It's right there. Corner to that line. And the nice thing about it is, this is the wrong way, right? But look, thank goodness we can turn it over. It doesn't matter on this particular piece that I did that. But we're going to have to be careful when we use the designer series paper. So that's going there. So now on the designer series paper, we want, I think it's 1 3/4 inch. Yes. And this time we want to measure from the top left, not the right, because remember we're trying to make the angle show on this side. So from the top to the left, I measured down 1 3/4 inch, and I want to cut from there to that opposite corner. Like that. Okay. And everything should be copacetic. Yep. Okay. Now, I'm going to sit down for a minute. I can see a little better. We want to go ahead and adhere this, oops, to this side, and erase my pencil mark. There we go. All right. This is one of the cool things about this silicone mat. I want to get adhesive all the way up in that corner so that it doesn't come loose, right? On the silicone mat, I can do that because I can just run off the edge and get it right over all of that piece. Okay. And there we go. Then we want to adhere it. See what I mean? Wait, am I on camera? Yeah. I've got a sticky note down here to remind me where the viewing edge stops so that I'll know if I go lower than that, you can't see me. Okay. So I want this right. Now, these angles are tricky things. So there's some places that it's a little kind of, you know, off kilter of being even, but it's pretty close. And since it's an angle, I don't think people are going to judge us too harshly. All right, so now we're good so far. And this is going right here. You know, you could pop that up with Pop-Tarts. I do not want to do that, but I do want to stamp a little image here. And I've got, I don't know if you can see it yet, but this little bitty flower, and somewhere, there it is, I've got basic gray, no, basic beige ink. And I'm going to stamp right there, not in the center, off to the side. You know, we want to be a little artistic here. Centering and even numbers are sometimes, well, even numbers are always bad. You want odd numbers and off center a lot of times. So that will go right here, and it's okay to adhere this now. I think that the reason I don't want to, oh no, look what I did. Okay, I got a fix for that. And you know what? This will be a cool thing to show you. See how I got ink up there by mistake? You know that stamp set? You've seen me wax poetic about this. Oops. Elements of, uh-oh, what was that? Oh, elements of text. This is the perfect thing to put up there. How about some splatters? Not text, because I think that would be too busy. And those two are too big. How about these? I like those a little better. So Let's do that. And what color? Probably basic beige, because that's the same color as the flowers and the ink that's already there. Also, it's light. So it's kind of, look at there. See? You can't see my little splattery mistakes, and it looks really pretty, like we meant to do that. How cool is that? All right. Now, okay. And look, I already had adhesive on the back of that, right? Doesn't stick to the silicone mat. Otherwise, if you had this on your desk or a piece of paper, it'd be stuck all over where you don't want it. I'm telling you, these little silicone mats are the bomb. Okay, so that's right here. I won't put the embellishment on there yet, but we want to adhere this pocket now. And I know I had my, there they are, there it is, tear and tape. I've got a little left on this roll. What we want to do is close up the bottom and this short side. And you know what? I want to get all the way to the edge. So, since I don't have any fingernails, I'm going to use my take your pick tool to peel it up. Now I can go all the way in the corner because I want to make sure it's stuck well. There we go. I've got some refill putty coming, and one of these days I want to get, see how that comes out? I told you about those tools before, haven't I? We sell a whole kit of a bunch of different little things you can put on there. One of them is a perforated blade. I have to have that in my life. I have a perforated blade, but I want one that fits on my take your pick tool. Okay, there. Now we've got this nice little pocket going. Okay, and let's go ahead and do the inside parts. So let's see if I cut these pieces correctly. I did. That's a nice, always nice when that happens. Okay. So this is the 4 by 5 1/4 Mossy Meadow, which we're going to mat on the inside. I don't always do this. Actually, usually I don't mat the inside. Just I have basic beige or white matted on the inside. Okay. But this card just called for something because it's got a bookmark, so it's extra special. And here's my little scopes. Did I say? I did. I sent you moving. I'm sorry. Boy, you're going to get seasick watching videos from me, aren't you? I'm really trying to work on that. I promise. Okay. So, no, let's put it this way. This is right side up. You could put it all the way flush to the edge of the left, at the left, but I want to leave a little border there. Voila. Inside is done. All we need to do is make the bookmark and put on our embellishment, and we will be finny for the day. Okay. So you could put a double mat, you know, mat this on top of Mossy Meadow cardstock, but I don't know, this time I didn't. Sometimes I do. I made one the other day that had that. Double mat. Okay, and this, yep, that's upside down. This is right side up. So I want my hole punch right there. And since I don't have that one that I want that's got 3, what's it called? hole punch assortment, I think. Yeah, hole punch assortment. They're 4 bookmarks. One of the hole punches is a little slit. I need that. And it's coming back on the next ship over. Yay! In just a couple more weeks. So I'm waiting. And we now have that capability that we can tell the system when we look at something and it says, oh, sorry, we're out of stock right now. You can say, please notify me when this comes back in. I love that feature. All right. I like to keep this not tangled up so that when I pull these through, I have a nice even look. And if you noticed, I poked it in through the front, the pretty side. You want to poke in through the pretty side. All right, I'm gonna get my ribbon skizzers. I don't want too long a ribbon. I don't want them perfectly even. There we go. Okay, there's the pretty little bookmark. Goes in our pocket. How cool is that? What a sweet gift. Okay, now, oh, here they are. Let's put one of these, and this time I'm using a small one. And no, I really like where I had it on the other one. Let's put it right there. Isn't that just the sweetest thing? Now, on the inside, I want to say, for someone who is wonderful in each and every way, I'm going to send a bunch of these bookmark cards to some church friends. I know a couple ladies who are in care facilities right now. One's in the hospital. Oh yeah, you know, women of a certain age, men of a certain age too, we have these little things. Okay, how about that? Isn't that pretty? What a wonderful gift. I love it. All right, please, please, please do me a favor. Please like and subscribe by clicking the bell up above. This really helps me increase visibility and engagement with my content, which in turn helps my channel grow and reach a wider audience. It also helps you because you'll receive a notice when I post a new video. So I'd really appreciate that. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to do that for you. I really appreciate your order. All right, have a blessed week. And I will see you next week. Bye.